Hey guys, this is Gabe Dimmick from the Baseball Rebellion, and I'm going to do a quick breakdown of Mike Piazza's swing. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because he just got elected into the Hall of Fame along with Ken Griffey Jr. So congratulations to him. He is, arguably the best offensive catcher of all time. You'll actually find very few people who would argue with that, according to the statistics. So, he was first in home runs for catchers. I believe he was first in OPS as well. So, really impressive career, and we know that Piazza is a strong guy, but strength doesn't generally get you into the Hall of Fame alone. And so, looking at his swing, I got two swings loaded up here. One from his younger days with the Dodgers, and then one from when he was a little more in the prime of his career with the Mets. And his swing pattern was really, really good throughout. And I want to take a look at what made him so good. So let's start here from the front view. Okay, so we're going to start off with the lower half. So you're going to see right here that Piazza is going to lift his leg and move fluidly and athletically. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth a few times in this initial part of his swing. So you're going to see the lift and the move forward. So he's really timing the pitch as he moves forward. He's not keeping his feet totally still. He's lifting his leg, having a nice calm tempo and rhythm as he gets set to turn. So in this initial phase, he's just lifting, moving, and readying himself to swing if the pitch is there. And this game, this pitch was in the 1996 or 1997 All-Star game, I believe, and this was a home run that he hit, and he ended up being the MVP of this game. And what you're going to see here is that right as he begins to turn, okay, or right as he's landing, you're going to see his belt line really turn open. So really watch his belt line. It's going to turn open toward the pitcher. So the back hip starts coming around this way, the front hip starts to clear this way, and the hips kind of make that circular, sideways circular motion right here as he's landing. So it's tough to tell exactly when he gets his heel into the ground just because the video cuts off his feet, but we can tell it's somewhere around here. So his knee is open for the most part. His hips have started to open. His shoulders are still closed, so his hips and shoulders have that separation. It's how he's setting up his swing for power. And then here's where he executes on that stored energy that he's started to have. If you really watch his back hip, so his back hip is kind of hidden from us right here, but as the pitch is coming in and as he goes to fire, his back really thrusts up and forward through the baseball. So really watch that back hip come up and forward, toward the pitcher. You can see his belt line come at us from this view, and that's just an extremely powerful move that allows all of his energy to go up through the baseball. You're also going to see that through that phase, you're going to see his front leg go from bent to really straight right around contact. So really straight around contact. Along with that, if you watch the bottom right corner of your screen right here, okay, as he thrusts that hip, you're going to see his heel kind of come up here. So right here, you can see that heel come up in this frame right here, and that just shows you that the back hip or the back foot is actually being pulled off the ground from that back hip thrust. Okay, so his lower half is extremely powerful and explosive, and that's one of the major reasons he had such a great career. Now let's talk about the upper body a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of his swing, and he does what's called a tip. So as he starts to lift his leg, he tips his bat in. Okay, it's where he lets the knob of the bat kind of go down toward the ground, and the tip of the bat, the top of the bat, the barrel is kind of going almost toward the dugout over here. So his bat is even past vertical. So vertical would be straight up and down, and he's even past vertical. So that's going to allow him to have a little more power in his swing, but he moves very fluidly through this. So as he goes and starts to open, he's going to let that bat kind of start to fall back behind him to get on plane with the pitch here. So I want you to notice here the movement that happens from the time when he tips it all the way in. This is where it's maximally tipped, and right here as he goes and he lands, he uses his upper body and he works his upper body as a unit to get the barrel in a really good spot to hit. So this is kind of where we want to see it when we land. A lot of guys just go ahead and start here, and that's not a bad way to hit, but Piazza really maximizes what he does because he gives his bat a start to it's a running start basically to get moving as he lands here, and then he can fluidly continue that through his turn. So that's a really high level move that not everybody has to have, but you can have, and it can add some explosiveness and some consistency as well. So right here, you're going to see that his back elbow and his back shoulder are going to go downward some, and that's going to allow that bat to fall back. His front elbow, front shoulder are going to go up. So his upper body works as a unit here, and that's what we're looking for. So back elbow, back shoulder have dropped down, front elbow, front shoulder start to go up, and now he's in a really good position to go ahead, and the hips have already started to lead. He's a really good position to go ahead and start his shoulder rotation really powerfully through. So really good job here. One of the things that I think is really cool to see with Piazza from this front view here is if you notice the height of his hands. So a lot of coaches out there teach to really, take your hand straight to the ball and keep the back shoulder really high. And, you're going to see that Piazza clearly doesn't do that here. So I want you to watch, even all the way here where his bat's all the way tipped in, I want you to notice that his hands are right at about, or the knob is right at about chest height. All right. Now, as he goes into his landing, you're going to see that the knob is still at about chest height. As he goes into his turn right before the barrel kind of releases out, the knob of his bat is still at about chest height. And as he comes through contact, still at about chest height. So the hands and the knob stay relatively on the same level, and he allows his barrel, the sweet spot of the bat, the spot that we want to go fast and really accelerate, he allows that to rotate around the knob. Okay, so he allows the knob to be kind of the pivot, and he allows the barrel to rotate around it up through it. Okay, so you can see it go down in the way of the catcher's mitt here, so very clearly blocking the catcher's mitt, and you're going to see his bat really come up through the ball right here, up through it. So it's not going to be down through it, up through it. He keeps going up, and he's going to continue and finish his swing all the way here. So, his upper body and lower body work powerfully together up through the baseball. So back hip thrust forward from this position up through it, and at the same time he keeps his hands high, allows that bat to come up through it as well. So the direction is together, and the lower and upper halves are really working together. So I thought that was really cool. One thing that I want to show you guys is just, I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to play this video through fluidly 3 or 4 times. I just want you to be able to see the smoothness with which Piazza moves here. Again, we all think of him as a pretty strong guy who may be able to muscle some balls out of the park, and that certainly helps. But you can't really tell me that the swing isn't athletic, isn't fluid, doesn't have moving parts. One of the things I hear a lot of announcers say is, I don't know how he swings with that many moving parts, but you can see here that Piazza, a younger guy with the Dodgers here, he has a lot of moving parts, and he makes them work together. And he's not a guy that just hit for power. He hit over 300 for his career average as well. So really, really cool swing to watch, and I learned a lot from it. So let me go ahead and switch over now to the side view for Piazza here. All right, so side view, this is him with the Mets. Okay, so we're going to see him, and we're going to see his lower half really move forward here. So you can see he doesn't keep his feet still. He picks his front foot off the ground and moves forward. And he gets to a really good spot here. So he gets to a bent front knee. You can see his front foot is starting to open. You can see that his hips have started to open. That back knee has started to turn in. It's a really good position right here. It's what we want to see from a lot of our hitters. Shoulders are closed. Bat's in a good spot, ready to go here. Again, really good position. He sets himself up really well. It moves pretty simply. If you're a bigger guy, if you're a big guy, remember, not everybody has to look like Donaldson or Batista. There's certainly nothing wrong with that, but you can also be a little more simple and still move forward and still get to good positions, and not everybody has to look exactly the same. So you're going to see the same thing here that you saw from the front, from the side. The back elbow, back shoulder are going to start to go down here. So back elbow, back shoulder start to drop. Front elbow, front shoulder start to go up, and the bat starts to get on plane. So this whole unit works together. And as he goes into his turn, you're going to see the same hip thrust. You're going to watch his back hip go up through the ball here. So back hip pulls it up through the ball. I think his back foot probably moved a little more in that other video with the Dodgers, but you can still see that back foot moving just a little bit, and that hip really being the driver in the swing, the one that's really creating the speed and the power up through the ball. You see that front leg straightening again, just like in the other video, and you're going to see his barrel. If we're going to track his barrel path right here, so you're going to see his bat starts here, okay, and as he goes to turn, you're going to see it start to make this loop, and you can really see the blur in the bat. You can see it get in the way of the ball here, and Yeah, I did say loop. So a lot of coaches say, "Oh, you got a loopy swing. That's bad." Well, there is a little loop here, and that's okay. So you're going to see this ball right here coming in. I'm using a different color here so you can really see it. And the ball is clearly above the barrel right here. Okay, so that means that he's swinging up through it. So then he gets the contact in the next frame. We're going to see that this barrel went up through the ball just slightly, and he's going to go ahead and finish his swing. He lets his barrel out really well, finishes his swing, and goes all the way through. So remember that Nike check that we talk about a lot here at Baseball Rebellion. You kind of see a little bit of a Nike check right here, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, so the lower half again coming up through it, the upper half being controlled to come up through it is very, very nice. You'll see some videos where Piazza's a little bit early and he makes contact with his arms a little more extended. But the key part here is that his elbows are bent to turn the barrel really deep. And so, here on this one, he lets the ball get a little deeper, elbows are apart. Now, let's say he was just a little bit early and he made contact a little bit more. It's okay that his elbows are closer together because it's a timing adjustment. He does a really good job of creating a maximum area to hit the ball on the barrel. He gets it in deep. He also keeps his barrel in the way for a long time and really maximizes that big range where he can keep his barrel in the zone and then uses his hips and his shoulders to power the barrel through the swing in a very powerful way again, but in a very consistent way. Like I said, he hit over 300 for his career, which is really hard to do, especially as a catcher, putting a lot of toll on your body back there. And he is number one as far as home runs for a catcher. So the power was there, the consistency was there. It was a beautiful swing. I learned a lot from watching him. So again, congratulations to Piazza on making the Hall of Fame, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this breakdown. Thank you.